Hi, I'm Jim Knotts, President and CEO of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund. Welcome to today's virtual reading of the names. 2022 marks the 40th anniversary of the dedication of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. As part of our commemoration, we'll host an in-person reading of the names at the wall from November 7th through 10th, 2022, when all 58,281 names on the wall will be read aloud. In the lead up to that event, we'll be reading names each day online while sharing the photos of these heroes. For our daily virtual reading, the names of the service members will be read by month and day of death between the years 1956 and 1975 in alphabetical order for the given day. We apologize in advance for any mispronunciations. Know that our readers are doing their best to honor these service members. We hope you'll listen and watch each day and share with others as we remember and honor those who gave their lives during the Vietnam War.
Charles Seaborn Abel, Arlie George Abraham, Samuel Leroy Akins, Mac Arthur Alston, Curtis Lee Anderson, James Oscar Arrowwood, William Albert Aspinall, Bobby Jean Baker, Raymond Beam, Stephen Lee Beck, Albert Lee Bellinger, Fred Arthur Belcher, Robert Joseph Benz, Kenneth Ray Birch, Lawrence Thomas Borden, Stephen Randall Brooks, Rex Lee Brown, Robert Bruce, Robert Elmer Bryant, James Arthur Burns, Dewey Ray Burns, Jr., James Frederick Cameron, Charles Dominic Casario, Roger Dale Childers, George David Chunko, Richard Thomas Clark, Kervin Clayton, William Francis Coakley, Raymond Cobb, Thomas Paul Coffino, Jesse Clifford Cofield, John Cole, William Patrick Cole, Franklin Matthew Corral, Jr., Thomas Glenn Cornwell, Kenneth George Cushman, Joseph William Dannison, James David Darwin, Dennis Lee Davis, John Wesley Davis, James L. Dillard III, Joe A. Elbert, Charles Paul Ellis, Alphonsa Evans, Eugene Joseph Feely, Jr., Daniel Richard Fenn, Garrison David Fields, Benjamin B. Finzer, Gary Francis Flynn, Robert Jean Fortin, Larry Luis Gamboto, Dennis Wayne Gentry, John Allen Germeck, Jr., McVincent Godfrey, Jr., Jose D. Gutierrez Velasquez, Howard Brown Handley, Edward Maynard Hanson, Daniel Macomb Hedges, Dwayne Helton, Edwin Ray Higgins, Dennis Ray Hodge, Robert Thomas Holmes, Gilmer Earl Humphreys, Terrence Michael Husted,
Thomas Carlisle Jacobs, Jerry Edwin Gerard, Bruce Ellsworth Jason, Vernon Douglas Jones, John Carl Jones, Howard Walker Kaiser, Cornelius Paul Keenally, Bruce Allen Kern, John Oscar Kearney, Richard Marvin Crossan, Joseph Gerald Krywicki, Raymond Edward Lanter, Charles Lenardowitz, Harvey Ledrew Lewis, Gary Lee Lewis, Melvin Ray Long, William Nicholas Loomis, Charles Laverne Lum, Stephen Danny Lund, Milton Bernard Luster, David Allen Mahan, Ralph George Mahoney, William Manzanares Jr., Ariel Marino, Dennis Craig Marshall, Charles Michael Martin, Gary Richard McFall, Wyatt Miller Jr., Michael David Miner, Lonzo Joseph Moran Jr., George Ray Morrison, Arthur David Moscrip Jr., Joe Russell Mossman, Michael Lee Mulcahy, Charles Albert Nolan Jr., Thomas Wiley Norman Jr., Henry McCarthy Oliver, Manuel Galvan Ortiz, James Lamont Palmer, Anthony Pasquale Patrica, Ernest Dilbert Piena, Thomas Miles Phillips, Everett Allen Plank, Gerald W. Plunkett, Donald Eugene Powells, Irvin Proctor, Kenneth Carl Rakentine, Sidney MacArthur Rasnick, Royce Wayne Rewald, Harold Eric Reed, Michael Paul Rice, Edmund William Richardson, Neil Edward Riley, Edward Kenneth Ryan, Billy Ray Salyer, Richard Wayne Sherrill, John Peter Scoro Jr., Gary Lee Smith, Harold Ray Spillman, William Russell Squire Jr., John E. Stackhouse, Anthony Michael Steen, Walter Frederick Steffens, James Williams Stevens,
James Byron Stockdale, David Leon Strait, Paul Robert Mack Strange, Lawrence Marvin Svobodny, Ronald Stephen Sweet, William Edward Tier, Cornelius A. van der Steeren, Joseph Alban Venable, James Taylor Waldron, James Dillon Wardlow, Keith Lincoln Ware, Tyrone Calvin Watson, Kenneth D. Weiss, Richard William Welch, Nicholas Wheeler, Johnny Lee Wilkes, Johnny Williams, Jr., Michael Stephen Wilsford, Willis Leroy Wood, Booker T. Wright, Manford Yates, William Glenn Young,